Good afternoon, everyone. Hope you're good. Hope you can hear me okay. I've just realised that all things are blaring out through the wrong microphone, so I'm just going to edit that a second. It's smooth, always ever professional show. But yeah, hopefully you can hear me okay. You know my usual paranoia over that. So points and prizes to whoever, especially on a Friday show. We might actually get you prizes for who tells me that they can hear me okay and that everything's working all right. I've got a guest waiting in the wings, our friend and colleague Felicity Thow. She had a week off from Physio Matters duties, so she's been having a restful one on the Flippin Pain tour, which looks really cool. And so I love that she's going to be able to take us around that, give us some insights. You might have seen it across social media. If you haven't, then pay attention to it. It's a public health campaign in Lincolnshire trying to tackle persistent pain and to educate the masses. But then in the spirit of I forget the movement over the pain revolution in Australia, like they did a peloton and stuff a couple of years ago pre-pandemic. And so the fact that they've taken that across Lincolnshire in similar fashion is just absolutely brilliant innovation. So hopefully I can bring you in a couple of clicks. Flick, how are you doing?
Hello. Sorry about the background noise. I'm in a tennis club.
That's okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
It feels like it's honestly like out to our roaming reporter, Felicity Thow, who's in Lincolnshire.
I'm at Grantham Tennis Club.
Well, firstly, I'm right in thinking it's been a restful week off. Then you've not been.
We're here at the tennis club just for a couple of rounds actually. Before we head off for a leisurely afternoon of changing cultural beliefs about persistent pain.
Simple stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's been hectic. It's been mad.
It's been mad. I can't believe it. I spoke to you on Tuesday, and you were saying how mad it was, and so it's only going to have been more so as the week's gone on, I imagine.
Yeah. Sorry. That's the train.
Okay, right. Yeah, we're definitely gonna get some bits of background noise. It really is roaming reporter from the field. What's flipping pain, Flick? I bet you've been answering that question a bit this week.
Flippin Pain. So sorry, that's the southbound train. There we go.
Chaos.
Sorry, the connection wasn't brilliant there. Are you saying what is Flippin Pain?
Yeah, I suspect you've been answering. So, what is flipping pain?
Sorry. So Flippin Pain, we're a public health campaign, and we're aimed at changing the way we think about, talk about, and treat persistent pain. So it's not just for people with persistent pain; it's for the community. Really, it's linked in. When Lincolnshire CCG wanted to change the way that their pain service worked, they wanted to move away from a biomedical model more towards the NICE guidelines. We said to them, in order to do that, you need to have a bigger outreach, and so Flippin Pain is the campaign aimed at targeting the people beyond the pain service itself. And as part of that, we planned a tour around Lincoln, and then 2020 occurred, and so we got postponed until this week. So this is our final day. I can hardly believe it. Tuesday I was thinking, oh my god, I cannot unload this van any more times, but now it's the last day. It's been brilliant.
What is it that's then? Can you tell us about what you've been up to as Flippin Pain in normal times, and then what is the physical manifestation of it that you're doing this week?
Yeah. So while we've been having the COVID time, so we used to do in-person events around Lincolnshire. I remember coming down to Grantham, I think it was actually, for an in-person event a couple of years ago with Professor Cormac Ryan, and Lauren Mosley was here as well. Then when COVID happened, we all went online. So we've been doing various webinars. Our website is as a result pretty built up with resources. We do. I interview people with persistent pain themselves. We do a real stories section of the website, and we've also got various resources like the "If Only I'd Known" leaflet that people wrote. Tina Price, Chris Price, who started that and got it through to the final product of what people who live with pain wish they'd known at the beginning of their journey. So yeah, lots of resources, lots of leaflets, lots of trains.
Yeah, it's great. Busy train line, bloody hell. Look at are we at the station?
It's not
tennis club, it's actually a station, Grantham station. What's so then how much of what you've described is then brought to bear in this tour, and then also tell me about some of the novelties and differences as well.
So on the tour, we kind of split into two groups. We've got the peloton tour, so we've got a group of cyclists made up of healthcare professionals and people who live with pain. And I guess the idea is they're pushing themselves to their limits. They're doing 50 miles a day in some cases to get around the county of Lincolnshire. So a bit of a physical challenge there. And then I'm leading the brain bus team, which is the I've seen in the message you've got some sound issues. Hopefully you can hear me. The brain bus team, we are going out into 2 places a day, so various different community places. Like yesterday, we were in a retail park. We were then in the Lincoln Uni. Today we're at a tennis club. We've been in Boston Town Centre, Lincoln Town Centre yesterday. It's been mad. So we take the brain bus to these locations. We set up, which I'll show you in a bit. We set these experiences up. We've got some brilliant staff. I have a fantastic team who are just so skilled at talking to people. And we're talking to people who are just interested in what's this about, and other people who say, oh, pain, I live with that, and tell me more. Then we all get the second venue, do a public seminar. So Cormac Ryan leads that, I host it. We always have a panel with healthcare professionals and people who live with pain on it. And we've had some great discussions. That's really fueled public engagement there. So I guess people can come to the brain bus and then can go to the public seminar afterwards for even more detail.
Just on the public seminar front for now, you have talked about this stuff and think about this stuff a lot, right? It's become an ever more important part of your work, including with Physio Matters, really. We've done a lot of work in that direction as well. Has this week also given you further and deeper insight? So has it been a bit busman's holiday in a way? Is it your kind of bread and butter, or has there still been stuff that you've learned and developed and found to be new this week?
Yeah, I think I have, definitely. It's very different interacting with someone on the street than it is in a consultation. You end up certainly we're not doing consultations, but people do share a lot with you in this scenario, in this setting. It's also been brilliant, particularly my two colleagues, Jaj and Julia, who are a physio and a chiropractor. Listening to them talk to people, it's just brilliant. Jaj in particular is brilliant at putting people at ease, and Julia is fantastic at actually changing people's beliefs on the street. Right. It's just absolutely awesome. So learning from colleagues is, and we've got a couple of students with us as well, so a bit of teaching as well. It's been brilliant.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to get you to take us on a little bit of a tour in a second, but just describe some of the. You've said you unload the brain bus and you put up various different exhibits of a sort, so there's quite an interactive experience, which I think is certainly a novelty. People could understand sort of the pain education and even just having chats with people about their symptoms, but the making it interactive, when you were talking me through it all those weeks ago when you were planning it, that sounds really interesting. Can you talk me through them, and also talk me through how people go about interacting with it and what the response rate has been on each of the exhibits?
Yeah, so I guess we're called the brain bus, and we set out pretty early on to say where it's a tough ask to call up people who are just passing by on their way to work or on the way to the shops, and change their understanding of persistent pain. So we said, let's not attempt a very difficult thing. We certainly try. We're succeeding in some cases, but what I really want to do is show people just how complex the brain is, how complex the nervous system, and as a result, how complex pain is. So to my mind, it's a success, a brilliant success. We're seeing people say, gosh, this makes more sense than a chap yesterday said to Julia, this makes much more sense than what the 3 doctors I've seen previously have said. I've finally understand it. Right. Really penny drop moments, real penny drop moments happening. But we also, if someone walks away and thinks, God, I have no idea how that happened. Isn't the brain weird? Isn't the nervous system weird? That's a win for me as well. That's a step away from injury plus time equals pain. Well,
just disrupting that baked in assumption is often the first step. We've all been there as well, haven't we? We didn't change overnight, did we, as therapists, when we perceived things in our own ways, often more baked in than even the public. It didn't happen in a moment. You had those things that sort of disrupted that conviction that you had, or those assumptions that you had. And then as long as like you guys are providing them resources that they can go to, they might attend to some of your other stuff later on. That might be the way that it does it. It won't happen in a moment. Although it does sound like you've had somewhere it's been a bit of an epiphany.
Yeah, it unbelievably we have. Right. But certainly, I mean, with the brain bus, the people who think we're too neurocentric might, we're the cognitive dissonance bus. It's we just
amazing.
Making people go, oh, why does that happen?
Yeah, look, I think that this is one of the always amusing things by people being pedantic on, say, accusations of neurocentrism. Above all else, it's alliteration. Piss off. Brain and bus both begin with B. I'm not having it with that. It's just annoying. Like, sometimes you just need to get something right with branding. So I'm totally with you there. Now, talking of branding, I'm going to have to be like, get you to give us a 12 flick. You're going to have to show us your like jersey.
It's fantastic, isn't it? It's awesome. We've got it's on the back as well. I don't know if you can see
that. Brilliant.
In the brain. That's probably an easier thing to show you. Pain, do you get it?
Do you get it? Yes. Nice.
I'm sat on a branded chair.
I obviously hadn't seen that. Amazing. That's quality. Right. Go on, keep going. Tell us what else you got.
The gazebos.
Right.
The gazebos. Do you want me to take you on the tour?
Yeah, is that the Big E's? Is that what those are?
The what?
I think I just saw the Big E's.
Oh,
what was it? Educate.
The Big E's, yeah. Engage, educate, empower.
Yeah, we hadn't prepped that one.
It's been a long time.
I know, sorry, that's what I'm calling them. Take us on the tour. Let's have a look. Tour of the tour.
So this, I'm sat at the table here where we do some of the kind of low-tech illusions. Everybody's favourite, the rubber hand. Nice. A lot of the public are like, oh, is this where you hit me with a hammer? I'm like, no, we don't go that far. We have the mirror box here, so we can do the sixth finger illusion, the Anne Boleyn illusion, as we call it, where we can make it appear like you have a sixth finger. It's very strange.
I need to understand why that's called it. Did Anne Boleyn
a huge shout out to Professor. Thought she was a witch.
I've lost you.
So, six fingers.
So,
yeah.
It's just got a massive delay, right? So, sorry, Anne Boleyn, they thought she was a witch. They thought she had six fingers.
Yeah, I think it's because I took Is that better now?
Yeah, that's better, yeah.
Am I back?
I mean, that shouldn't make a difference, but it has, yes.
Yeah. I might just have to show you a seated tour.
Fine, okay.
Six-finger illusion. We have over here, that is a machine called the Mirage Machine. And massive shout out to Professor Roger Newport at Loughborough Uni, who invented and built that machine and has kindly let us borrow it and take it on the road.
So talk me through that.
In every night, Roger. So it's brilliant. There's a few illusions on there. We've refined two of them and used them. So we stand either side of it. The person stands opposite you on the box. They put their hands in the box. There's one where the hand vanishes. So you've got your hands in the box, the hand disappears, it's still there. And then because of the mirrors and the illusions, you go searching for their hand and it doesn't appear like it's there. But then you feel it and it is, of course, still there. And there's one where you finger stretch. So you put your finger in and it elongates and people are like, whoa, this is so weird. We've got loads of literature and stuff around to talk to people as well. And probably the most, we've got visual illusions as well. So like the one where Barack Obama's face is upside down and you think they look the same, but actually their teeth and the lips, the teeth of the eyes are flipped. Things that make people go, oh yeah, we do. It's a processing organ, isn't it, the brain? And it doesn't always get it right when, that's a large part of what we're seeing. The VR area where my colleague Julia is just now. Julia, go over.
Hi, Julia.
Julia, who's been on Therapy Live. You might recognise Julia from Therapy Live. she's a brilliant chiropractor with an interest in pain, and the students are all saying, oh, I love listening to Julia talk to people about pain because she's very good at it. And Julia has had a lot of success in.
I did see her stuff on Therapy Life. She's great, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, she's awesome. There, the VR area, a real crowd draw. What we do is I don't know if you've ever done Richie's Plank Experience, which is the app we use. So we get them in the VR machine.
Yeah.
You're on a street, at the bottom a lift. You get in the lift, you get the person put in the lift, and you press plank, and you go up to the seat. And we've all been singing the lift music for a good week now. And you get up, and the doors open, and you're at the top of a skyscraper with a plank in front of you. And of course, like your Grantham Tennis Club, you stand on the background, you know that. But everyone, even the people who are like, I'm fine with heights, or they've watched their mate do it, and they're like, I can do this. Dr. Deepak Ravindran, he was very cavalier about it yesterday, saying, I can.
And then he was clinging to the plank.
People they reach for the sides of the lift. It's terrifying. They get real sweaty palms. And by saying, these are real symptoms of anxiety, even though the danger isn't real. We can't argue with that sense of anxiety. So that was my number one concern with the brain bus, was that people would think we were saying it's your brain, it's in your brain, it's not real. But everything is what we say is what you feel is always real, and you can't argue with that sense of fear when you're at the top of a lift with a plank. It's funny, and a lot of people are like, I'm not going on that. I'm not even stepping foot on it. It's brilliant.
One of the things that I was going to ask, how well is it landing with regards to making sure that people recognise that because we need to not end up coming across as if we're new age dualists, that we're now implying mind over body, right? So the whole point is that you're trying to get people in touch with their very real physiology that's being disrupted by, say, things that aren't representative of actual danger, right? How well have these physical experiments, as fun as they've been, how well are those messages landing that make them purposeful?
Yeah, better than I expected. I was really worried about that. Really worried about that. And actually, a lot of people are kind of going, oh yeah, that makes sense. More so than the polite kind of, oh, okay, thanks anyway, gotta go. It certainly has been landed. And I think, as I say, we're trying not to get too bogged down in, I think what I'm learning from my colleagues is the less talking we do, sometimes the better. The more we kind of go, the more we question what that person is experiencing, the better, and get them towards that. And then, of course, what we do is we advertise the seminar that Cormac Ryan does in the evening, where he really goes into the detail of not just the biology, but the reason we get pain. And he's an awesome storyteller. So it's, if we can get, and if people can't make it, we've got webinars on the website of previous ones that we've recorded. So yeah, we try and plant the seed, and that's really all. I'm happy if we've just planted seeds in people, but as I say, sometimes we're going even beyond that.
So two bad case scenarios for an in-person event like this. One is that you just struggle to get the footfall. The other is that it's almost too busy, you can't really get the impact because you can't interact with people. Could you give us, I mean, we will come to Nick's comment in a second. He could come and help on camera, but he's actually commented on Facebook. So, Nick, you're not getting away with making jokey comments like that unless you come on screen. But before we go to Nick's question, which no doubt you two are going to give me a song, what's the crack with that then? How well have you done for traffic? And it also, has there been times where it's become almost too much demand?
A bit of both. So our quietest day was Boston Town Centre. That would have been, city centre, forgive me, Bostonians. We were we were just at the bottom of the church there, the Stump, which is apparently a very, very well-known landmark there. Would have been an awesome place had it not been torrential rain all day. And I don't know who was more. I don't know who was more sorry for themselves that day, the cyclists cycling in it or us just standing there waiting for people. We got a couple of people, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near like it would have been yesterday. Lincoln Town Centre was incredible. City centre again. Sorry, Lincoln. It has been really busy. I think we couldn't have done it without the amount. I think we've had perfect number of staff. So we've had me, Judge, and Julia. Nick Liverdas, who is wanting me to sing the song, definitely won't be. He's doing Nick is doing amazing things here. He's not only helping us out with the Brain Plus, but he's doing researching for his PhD, which is a whole evaluation of this whole process, and supervising 2 students. So like, one of those things is a lot. And he's got great questions as well coming here. We've got our 2 students as well.
He's heckling from Facebook here.
I know. I can't even see where he is.
Where is he? If you can see him, then you grab him, drag him on the screen. He's not getting away with this. That is crazy. But yeah, so you might not have to sing it, but what is he on about?
I'm trying to think which one, because there has been 2 developed last night. One was a song that Cormac has been working on for some time, and that was brilliant. That was to the tune of a Blondie song, I forget. And the other one we did was so did you know, we went to Market Raisin a few days ago, did you know that the songwriter of Thriller went to school in Market Raisin?
I mean, I didn't, because that's tenuous trivia, though, isn't it? That so that they're not even from there. The fact that you're saying went to school in tells you that they probably
He might be from there. I'm getting this from Cormac, who did the presentation. He does a bit of trivia every night.
It's a proper tenuous piece of trivia. In fact, that's not even that easy to fact check.
Well, we set a song to Thriller, which just involved us. There was the six key messages of the Flippin Pain campaign, and we just changed them to be very in jokes that you won't get. So yeah, hilarious. But it was brilliant.
I won't make you sing though, I promise. What Anna Maria's asked, and I think this is something that I've heard and wondered about as well, is obviously the nature of the way that the service is commissioned, etc., and it being a public health campaign tethered to a changing culture that you're trying to instigate through Lincolnshire, means that it's not the sort of thing that's like a commercial venture that can be ready-made and moved elsewhere. What's the do you think I want you, you can answer Anna's question if you want, but I suspect the answer will disappoint her. But could you give me insight into whether or not, if money wasn't an object, do you think this would travel well?
I was thinking about that this morning, because a lot of people have come on Facebook and Twitter and said, someone said, when is it coming to, could you come to Newcastle? That would suit me down in the ground, certainly. But it is, I mean, it's an expensive operation, let's be honest. It's vast. And it does come down, I guess, to the local CCG, and it was the local CCG who wanted to change the service, and therefore were happy to have a massive campaign like this. And it's the first of its kind in the UK. As you mentioned, Pain Revolution were the founders of this, and that's certainly our inspiration. And I think that it's hard to say. You know, we certainly do. I don't know that we have plans to go anywhere else at the minute. I mean, until plans happen, I don't know above Lincolnshire. But I think, you know, I it would be my dream. I would love it if every, you know, area had a Flippin Pain campaign. If this was a national roadshow, it would be awesome.
I'm going to be a swine and ask, now that you're doing something like this, and now that you're seeing the impacts it can have, and the fact that, yes, it's difficult, and the messaging's difficult, but an appropriately professionalized campaign and branding exercise can really make a difference on changing people's minds in real time, that then will have obvious downstream effects. And through Nick's work, we will measure the downstream effects of this information. Do you not look on at the organisations, some of which you, of course, fund, that wonder as to whether or not they could have been doing stuff like this, or they are the people that could nationalise something like this? Or do you see this as being something that say CSP, Armour, other large organisations being able to then think, if they were brave enough, that they could do something like this?
I mean, I guess, certainly could. What's been really interesting as well, and what would probably interest them, is that we do the public seminars in the evening, and Cormac talks about opioid prescription in Lincolnshire, and it's in the top percentile, the 90th plus percentile. It's one of the highest opioid prescribers in the UK, well above the national median. And a lot of people, when he describes that and gives the background to that, the questions at the end are often saying, what what are we doing about this? Now, the answer is, first of all, good news, your pain service has changed, and part of that is the Flippin Pain campaign. So that's good news, but it doesn't, there's certainly places, I forget, sorry, the comment came in, I was reading it.
Stop getting distracted by the bloody comments.
Sorry.
Can you answer?
Yes,
My job.
The questions coming in are saying things like, how can we get our GPs on board with this message? How can we get this message out there? And a lot of the times we're saying, we need your help as well. We need your help as the residents of this area. Chris Barker is a pain physician, and he says, when he's a GP, one of the biggest motivators for him to go and look something up is when a patient comes in and says, hey, I've heard about this, what do you think about this?
Demand it.
Share this with your GP, share this with your healthcare professionals, because a lot of the questions land back at what are my healthcare professionals doing about this?
How many of their that's one of the things I think is one of the hardest. If the penny drops for them, but they're the ones that need to go and persuade the healthcare professionals to have a bit of a more holistic view of these things, or why was I prescribed X? Why have I been on a regimen of these injections? I think that is a fascinating question, and the people power that you needed to provoke. It is very culturally relevant as well, isn't it, with regards to Lincolnshire in its geography and its politics and its industries, and that is one of the things that has most excited me about following Flippin Pain. Is that I just think that almost instinctively you could have picked some sort of real soft touch middle class area, right? You could have gone for like Hertfordshire, right? And you could pick not saying that would have been easier. That it's different challenges, but it's like there could have been easier ways in. Whereas, and I'm not suddenly such an incredibly diverse county and vast county, but one that has its unique cultural challenges that will precede some of the public health challenges it has. And so the fact that then making impressions and impacts as you are doing there should stand in good stead for the transferability across the nation. And one of the things that we need to make sure, and please know and make sure you pass this on to the rest of the gang, hopefully they'd know we as Physio Matters and through you would be allies for this, but make this known that we want to make sure that any examples that you've been able to bring to bear from this week and learning that you've had for us to proliferate this message and make sure it gets going again, then we will put all of our loudspeakers in that direction, and proudly so, because it's been amazing to watch and to hear from you about its impact on that individual level, of course, which we've not been able to see, is absolutely amazing. So really do appreciate it. Nick's made a great point here, which you were distracted by when the comment came in. All services and teams can engage with the community in the smaller scale, shopping centres, market squares, etc. Absolutely. And I think that that's one of the things that that the pandemic needs to have had one upside on provoking that sense of community. We especially saw that in the early stages of it, but also the fact that neighbours know each other better than they did 2 years ago. And so having that sense of engaging that through MSK and paid services, integrating things better, joining things up with interprofessional education, I think that the way in which you guys have created a resource set that is compatible for clinicians and for the local populace is huge. And so that needn't be regionally specific. And I imagine, is that something that you see as being an obvious next step in a way? Is that message gets out and transcends Lincolnshire?
We'd hope so. And people certainly seem convinced, the reaction to the public seminars and to what we're saying here. It's landing. Probably, maybe I was pessimistic, but I was just worried about the worst case scenario, of course, about everything. So,
not like you.
No, and it's landed far better than I actually expected, and that's that's just me and my mindset probably, but I think sometimes it's a barrier, isn't it? Oh, I'm terrified of going out there and trying to talk to people about this, because we think there's this belief system that's impossible to break down, but it is, and people are so nice as well. People are so lovely, especially the people who are curious and kind of passing by.
Well, that's one of the things that does self-select, is that unfortunately there are some difficulties and challenges that come from this information being quite confrontational for some people. But generally speaking, if their baseline is raw anger, then maybe less likely to come over and shake a fist at the stand like this, whereas they might end up in a consultation. And so, whilst with that, of course, it comes with massive amounts of sympathy in that direction. There are circumstances in individual clinical consultations that can sometimes go awry or be incredibly difficult. But in this book, that one of the things that the public aspect of it will have refined is that you will have that inquisitive nature that sort of self-selects. And so I'm really pleased that that's how it's been, and that there's something to play with, to do, to understand in a really compatible manner that's been entertaining. That's the thing. Of course, it's just that how dry and bland so much has been in our industry when trying to engage with that, or interprofessionally we've been able to be creative, but then that's not for patients, cost professionalism, or cost some other weird ass example for why we've had to make it dry. Has it been good for you to see all the fun shit you've planned land so well, but also in the context of being professional still?
Absolutely, and it has been great fun, not just for us. Like people, it's a big colourful gazebo, and we're dropping people off planks off buildings in virtual reality, and it's funny. And people bring their partner and they're engaged. They're, oh my god, this rubber hand feels like my hand, and nobody can believe it. So yeah, it's absolutely it's been brilliant.
Great fun, lovely. Well, we're out of time, and I know you've got to crack on with the actual job. Thank you so much for joining. I don't know if you got the text, but you need to cover 4 sessions of moderation at Therapy Live Business tomorrow. So I hope that's okay, and I hope the Wi-Fi holds up. No, you haven't heard that one. No, okay.
No.
Of course, I jest. Have a lovely day, and we'll see you back at work next week. We miss you.
Thanks, Jack.
Take care. Cheers, everyone. Bye bye. I will see you all next week for more Tuning Over. Bye.